Welcome to the reality of 2026. Learning AI today feels very different than it did just a few years ago. Back then, everyone thought they had to become a programmer to understand synthetic intelligence. But we have seen a massive shift. The walls have come down. Now the most valuable skill you can have is not writing complex code. It is critical thinking and curiosity. Think about it like driving a car. You do not need to know how to build the engine to be an excellent driver. You just need to know the rules of the road and how to handle the vehicle safely. In 2026, AI is the engine. It runs in the background of almost everything we do. So your first step is simply changing how you view these tools. Instead of seeing them as magic boxes that might replace you, see them as eager assistants waiting for your instructions. I want you to picture a friend of mine named Sarah. 3 years ago, she was terrified of automation taking her job in graphic design. She stalled and refused to engage with new creative tools. She thought ignoring them would make them go away. But then she watched a colleague finish a 2-day project in 2 hours. That was her wake-up call. She realized she was not competing against the machine. She was competing against other people who knew how to work with the machine. So she started small. She did not go back to university. She just opened the interface and started playing around. That is where you likely are right now, standing at the edge and wondering if it is too late to jump in. Let me tell you that it is definitely not too late. In fact, 2026 is the best time to start because the tools speak your language now. We are no longer typing cryptic commands. We are having conversations. The barrier to entry has never been lower. If you can explain a problem clearly to another human, then you are already halfway to being an expert in this field. It is about communication first and technology second. When you start from a place of collaboration rather than fear, the learning curve flattens out. You begin to look for problems in your daily life that can be solved faster. That is the mindset of an AI native. You stop asking, "How do I build this?" and start asking, "How can we build this together?" This mental switch is the foundation. Without it, you are just memorizing features that will be obsolete next month. But with it, you become adaptable. And in a world moving this fast, adaptability is the only currency that matters. Now that we have the right mindset, let us talk about the practical steps to actually learn this skill set in 2026. The biggest mistake people make is trying to learn everything at once. The field is too big. It is like trying to drink the entire ocean. Instead, you need to pick a bucket. Choose a specific area that interests you. Maybe it is writing or data analysis, or perhaps visual art. Once you have your niche, the learning path becomes clear. You do not need a syllabus. You need a project. I always tell people to pick a task they hate doing. Maybe it is organizing your email or planning your weekly meals. Take that boring task and try to automate it using current tools. You will fail at first. The output will look weird. But that friction is where the learning happens. You will figure out that changing one word in your request changes the entire result. This allows you to develop an intuition for the system. We call this iterative prompting, and it is the 2026 equivalent of literacy. Another massive part of learning is understanding the ethics and the data. You need to know when the system might be hallucinating or giving you biased information. In 2026, being a fact checker is part of the job description. Trust but verify is the golden rule. Finally, find a community. Learning in isolation is hard. Connect with other people who are figuring this out. Share your prompts and share your failures. When you treat learning as a social experiment rather than a solitary exam, you move much faster. By the end of the year, you won't just be using AI. You will be thinking alongside it. And that partnership is the future of work. So do not overcomplicate it. Start with curiosity. Pick a small project. Iterate often and verify everything. The technology will keep changing. That is guaranteed. But if you build these core habits, you will be ready for whatever comes next. The future belongs to the curious. So go ahead and open that new tab. Your education starts the moment you ask your first question. Remember that everyone started exactly where you are right now. The only difference between a novice and an expert in 2026 is the willingness to experiment. So take that first step today. Using these tools is the only way to truly understand them. Good luck on your journey.